PathBuck is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathBuck qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathBuck to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Chris Fink from Fannit, marketing strategist with them. How you doing today, Chris?
Ernest, I'm doing really great.
It's great to have you. And well, I'm sure, Chris, our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Fannit Inspiring Growth Online is all about. So in your own words, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I'm excited to be here. Fannit is a digital marketing agency. Our premise is that we care like an owner. We view our clients, like we're actively engaged in ownership and try to provide that level of leadership. And what that typically means is that, we offer leadership and insights in the digital marketing, but we can scale that through marketing managers or even fractional CMOs and try to figure out how to move our clients through the business stages. And we always use tailored, unique solutions, that are most relevant towards the business and where they're at.
Okay, interesting. And so that way then our listeners can get a good understanding there of Fannit. What would you say then is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Well, we started working originally focused on organic search. And so, organic search, website performance, conversions, that stuff is where we're going to shine the brightest because we've been, working in that area the longest. But really what we're looking at is moving the client through the stages of their business and helping achieve their revenue goals. And we like to look at, as many channels as that we can to be effective in there. And one of the nice things about Fannit is that, we can operate in multiple channels at the same time and have a more cohesive system that works together instead of having, elements separated out by different, agencies or different companies. We kind of keep it in one strategy and streamline the process a little bit.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. So then, is there a certain vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP then for Fannit?
Well, we like to focus on home services as a sector. So we don't niche down to specific industries, but we do like keeping our clients within that sector of home services. So, roofers, landscaping, HVAC. I guess we think of it like, the people that keep our homes happy and healthy and, great places to be, they, those businesses, we love being involved in working with entrepreneurs. Like we're entrepreneurs. We want to help entrepreneurs who are in those types of businesses be successful. So home services sector is pretty much where we're focusing our attention right now.
Perfect. Awesome. So say that I was, in the HVAC business, how would I usually find out about Fannit? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah, we show up a lot in organic search, of course, but also, we're fortunate enough, we got featured in like some Forbes, USA Today, Clutch reviews, people that are seeking out those type of solutions will go there. And I would say outside of organic or our Google business, presence, those channels probably drive us the most traffic.
Okay. Interesting. So that way our listeners who are tuned in can go and visit you then. They could always check you out at fannit.com. What role would the website play for client acquisition?
I've seen it play a couple different roles. One, it might be the beginning, like when a prospect becomes, problem aware and they start seeking out solutions. If they come in through organic search, then they could, get into our lead funnel from various ways on page. A lot of times I've noticed also, though, that people will get exposed to us from different places, like, say, for example, a Forbes article or something like that, but they'll go to our site for validation. And I've noticed that a lot of people will look at like our university articles or our educational content that we put out there, just on the industry or marketing in general that we just put out there. And people will look at those, and it's always validating what, they read in these articles, and giving them a little bit more context about us to decide if it's a good fit before they reach out.
Okay, interesting. All right. So then on that note, Chris, is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Boy, I think audience identification and really, looking through the trying to get a good sense of your audience and the problems they're trying to solve, and then crafting content that allows those solutions to be made evident, and whether we can play a role in implementing that solution would be the next step. But I guess we're trying to provide the solutions out there for the readers, and then just, they don't want to necessarily do all those things themselves, but that we give that to them. And then they're just like, okay, great. Can you do this? And, get us seen. And I like to think of, digital marketing, if it's a screen, I'm trying to get your name on it as the answer to the question, if the user's asking the right questions. So, if we approach it from that lens, then usually we get pretty good engagement on the site, and we, get more inquiries, and, requests for implementation and discovery.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Thank you so much for that knowledge there for our listeners. And Chris, well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about you as a leader. What are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Well, I'm involved in a couple different levels. I'm still directly involved in client services. So, one of the things for me is just doing a review of, performance of stats daily. And I find that if I manage it daily, I might have a bad day, but I won't have a bad week. So, I just try to I review all my clients. I have a dashboard configured to them, and I review the key things. And then after that, I'll delegate out, tasks to work, for production to implement. After that, I like to work with what's going on inside of our team and, start to kind of shift a little bit into organizational efforts. So I start with working outwards and then kind of focus on the inner side of things towards the end of my day, and usually try to wrap up operational things and, just clean up, housekeeping, stuff like that.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And let's jump into our next section then here, Chris, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First off, then, Chris, what is the last book that you read?
Oh, I just wrapped up Scale at Speed. I read a lot of books, actually. So, Scale at Speed was a good one. I think I have a couple books from the Arbinger Institute next up, but I also finished up CMO to CRO by was that Mike Giller, Brady Starr, and Scale at Speed was by Felix Velarde, which great book.
All right, interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that for our listeners. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
There were no boundaries in technology. That's a huge, wild question. I think for me as a marketer, I would like to somehow find a way in technology to build myself as an audience so that I could curate the data that comes in. There's so much content out there, right? There's resources everywhere. There's so many articles and pods and casts and episodes, and but in each one of those, there might be 20 great ideas, but only 3 of them are applicable to me. So if I could somehow virtually, curate myself as the audience and prune down all of those different topics and all that content into what's relevant and impactful to me, that would be something that I would love to see in our technology. It's building out our audience profile.
Definitely interesting. I like that take. Next up then is, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Oh man. I would say everything that I can automate, I do right now. In terms of, I guess, going through and like sorting out my inbox or and most of this stuff I can deal with and just create rules and filters in place for 'em. If I don't think I want to automate much more because then it removes me from the problem identification process. Like I could say, take all my dashboards, let me know if there's one problem instead of me looking at them all every day. Um, but sometimes that's when I start thinking and having, any insights that come to mind. So I think where we're at with automation right now is great. It's just organizing all the tasks and, managing the processes that we have. If I could find somebody to work within our CRM and some of our software things and give direction without me having to write it all out, that would be pretty cool. But otherwise, yeah, things are in a good place for us.
Okay, awesome. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And well, Chris, what would you say then is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I would pivot and not focus. When I first started, I, like a lot of people, focused on the low-hanging fruit first, right? It's the quick wins. What can I do to put some results on the board, to see some things happen. And those are important, definitely, because they can be, efficient, implemented, tasks that can see results quickly. But what I found that I did was I pushed back the things like, okay, this is going to be easy and I'm going to see results. I'm just going to focus all on this. This is going to be hard and take a long time to see results. So I'll get to that later. The problem is that it's hard and it takes a long time to see results. So I probably should have started some of those things a lot sooner than I did. And built my process, for when I'm working with clients or when I'm taking on a project. I think I dedicated more time to the quick wins, and I didn't start up some of those long-term fundamental things that just take longer, like authority building and, things like that. It just takes a long time and it's hard. So I would have leaned a little bit more into that earlier in the process. Yeah, that would be the advice that I have for myself if I were to go back.
All right, great. Some great advice there. And like you mentioned, not just for yourself, but I think it's some great advice for our listeners as well. And well, Chris, we're coming to the end of the show here today, but before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about Fannit?
We care like an owner, and we don't have, just good, better, best cookie cutter solutions. Like, we're going to work to discover where our clients are, where they want to go, and then we'll work together with them hand in hand to walk them and next to them and get them there.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for that. And well, to our listeners, you could always check them out at Fannit.com, the marketing agency who cares like an owner. Chris, thank you so much for being on with us. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at PathMonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me.